So let's start with the organic plant acids. Now, organic plant acids don't mean very much to many people, but vitamin C is actually an organic plant acid because it's ascorbic acid. So that's a natural organic plant acid. Another organic plant acid is citric acid. Now, our company, and I like to think that I've helped, with my mentors, we've come up with many formulas. Again, starting in about 1980 was when we really started the formulation work. Up until this day, we've been formulating with many of the top people in the world in Ayurveda and in aromatherapy, herbology, and nutrition. However, what's happened over the past few years is that we've been mentored by a retired UN scientist that has, similar to us, 25 years of formulation. Now, this scientist was working in the jungles of the world, setting up hospitals. And her purpose was really to come up with simple, cost-effective solutions for health, because there was not unlimited budgets. For example, one of the jungles she worked with is near Tulum, Mexico, inland from Tulum. And that's south of Cancun, Mexico. And in those jungles, she noticed a lot of young children had dysentery. And they were dying sometimes from dysentery. So she wanted to come up with safe, inexpensive remedies to cure dysentery. And she did. She looked at the citrus plant family, lemon family, orange family, and other extracts. And she was able to send these extracts and these ideas around the world to her UN scientist connections in some of the best-known universities throughout the world, and collaborate to make this natural cure for dysentery effective and stable, because natural medicines sometimes vary in their effectiveness. By using a number of different extracts, she was able to make this remedy effective every time. So years went by and she was using this remedy inexpensively, and then she was in Canada, and I live in Canada, in Vancouver, Canada. And she was in Canada, and she developed a remedy, a concentrated form of this, that would be good for acne and skincare. And that's when I heard about this project. That was around the year 2003. And at that time, I'd been formulating skincare for about 6 years. And we had never found a natural preservative that worked perfectly. So we were using synthetic preservatives, methyl and propylparaben. There were some preservatives we knew would work and preserve our skincare for a year, but they wouldn't really last longer. So we were kind of stuck, we thought. Then we heard about this remedy and this acne cream that was being developed. And I asked the consultant to the distributor, well, what's the name of the preservative? And they said, well, we don't need one because the active ingredient for the acne cream is a preservative. And I said, what is it? They said, well, it's a couple of organic plant acids, which I've already mentioned, citric and ascorbic acid, and they're bound in glycerin with a little table salt. And I thought, this is amazing. I can't believe it. It's so simple, so inexpensive. How could it possibly work? The UN scientist explained it to me this way, and I eventually got to meet her, which was great, because her knowledge, I found, was brilliant, and her experience amazing. And she became a naturopathic doctor during her many years in the jungle setting up these hospitals. So she had the advantage of the background in science, access to the universities, access to the medicine practitioners in the jungles, and just all these incredible, what can I say, synergy of experience and people to perfect this remedy. And she explained to me that what she did is actually link the different molecules of the citric acid, the ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C, table salt, which is sodium chloride, in a base of glycerin. And she linked the molecules, linked these things together, and each remedy, or each, what can I say, ingredient had to be made in a certain way so that it would work in the whole formula. And she was explaining these things to me, and then it started to make sense to me that it wasn't the cost of the ingredients or the complexity of the ingredients, it was the combination of the ingredients in certain ratios and linking the molecules together to come up with a whole molecule that made the product so effective that it would kill any bacteria, fungi, or virus. And so we call these organic plant acids. this nasal spray has been a tremendous help for those people with sinus conditions, and also individuals that are, say, in a dry desert area. They find that their sinus just feels irritated. Very few people know that a reason for that is fungi. And fungi, for those who don't know, is mushrooms are a fungi, and there's these little mycelium spores that float all over the place. And when they go up the nasal passages, the bacteria and or the fungi can create a condition where the body is irritated. The sinus is irritated and you feel uncomfortable. This nasal spray will kill the bacteria or fungi in a safe, harmless way and just create more comfort in the nasal passages. Now, for those people that are fortunate like me not to have that problem, it's not an issue, but I've noticed since we've been distributing this that possibly 10% of the population has a problem. So this nasal spray is a safe, harmless spray that can be marketed anywhere in the world. Now, these organic plant acids are so powerful that if you take them once a year in like a 1 ounce bottle, similar to this, you just take drops and you take maybe half a dropper full, say 3 times a day for about 12 to 14 days. In that roughly 2-week period, if you do that once a year, it will keep the whole GI tract, the whole intestinal tract, free of negative anaerobic bacteria, which is basically bad bacteria. There's bad bacteria and good bacteria in your gut. So what I want to do is talk about these organic plant acids and break it down into a few products that we have the privilege to distribute. Now, we want to see everyone use these products. So the products, again, are an internal cleansing product, which we call Annual Cleanse. It's so powerful, you only need to use it once a year, 3 times a day, and it'll keep the whole GI tract free of negative anaerobic bacteria. In other words, bad bacteria. And that's important. Now, you only need to use that product once a year, but there are exceptions. If you were traveling, being from Canada, if I traveled to Mexico or India as an example, I may pick up foreign bacteria from the food that's harmless to the people that live there. But when I eat that food, that foreign bacteria comes in, and because I can't really fight it, because it's foreign, I can feel really weird. In fact, that just happened to me. Just about, I'd say 10 months ago, I was in Mexico, and I came back and I felt kind of weird in my gut. So I took this product, and within 2 hours I felt better, and my wife was in the same boat. Then the next morning we woke up and we felt kind of strange again. The scientists told us that with that type of foreign bacteria, we could do a mini cleanse of about 4 to 5 days and then just clean it up, and that's what we did, and it was fine. So generally you only need to use that product once a year, but it's good to use it for a few days if you pick up foreign bacteria. It's also good for food poisoning. So if you have food poisoning, a couple of days, 3 times a day should do it. Maybe 2 or 3 days at the most. Avian flu is known as bird flu because it originates in birds, and there's concern at this time that it's going to cross-mutate into a common flu virus, which means it could become an epidemic. So I discussed this with the retired UN scientist, and I said, what can you do? She said, well, I've already given that a lot of thought, and we've developed protocols. So they took the organic plant acids and put it into a hand spray, which a simple bottle like that. It's just sprayed on the hands like this, and then you just rub it together like that, and it will kill any bacteria, fungi, or virus in the hands. Now, some people have said, well, why don't you use alcohol? Well, alcohol is effective, but the way this product works is that the bacteria, fungi, or virus actually eat the product, because all those ingredients I talked about earlier, they link together and they look like breakfast for those ingredients, or sorry, for those bacteria, fungus, or virus. And so they eat it and they die that way. So it's really very effective. You want to rub it into your hands well. The reason why you do your hands is because often we don't realize it, but if we go like that with our hair, then we can come close to our nose or our lips, and then if there's an airborne virus, we want to purify our hands because somehow it may touch our mouth. Now, this avian flu preventative, it's really a kit. And I mentioned the hand spray. There's also a nasal spray. See, with an airborne flu virus, let's say someone in the office sneezes on you and you go, oh my goodness, I don't want to catch the flu. So then what you do is you use this kit, which is a hand spray, a nasal spray, and a throat spray. And ideally an eye wash as well, because the airborne virus can either go up the nose, in the throat, on the hands, which could then go into the mouth if we touch ourselves like that. Could also go in the eyes. So this nasal spray that we have here like that, you just kind of go like that and spray it up your nose. It'll kill the airborne virus that is incubating in your nasal passages. It takes normally 3 to 4 hours for the virus to kind of incubate in your nose or throat. So as long as you do it once every 4 hours, you're okay. So let's say you go to the supermarket, someone sneezes on you. So you go to the car, you come home and you do this once, and then maybe you do it again later at night. That's going to be enough. But let's say there was an outbreak of avian flu in an airport, and you came home and you'd just been at the airport. Well, then because avian flu can potentially be deadly, you'd probably want to do it every couple of hours. So you have to use your common sense. But most of us today are not worried about avian flu. So again, this little antibacterial antiviral kit is the hand spray, the nasal spray, and also a throat spray. Now, the throat spray is self-explanatory, I think, by now, because if you have an airborne virus, again, someone sneezing on you, or you just feel a sore throat coming on, or you're talking a lot, I should probably be using it now, or you're at a trade show, it's good to use this, and you're just going to feel more comfortable in your throat. So that's really the organic plant acids summarized. Use them once a year for an annual cleanse, or you can use one of the 3 sprays for preventing flus, preventing what can I say, bacteria growing in your throat, preventing sore throat, and helping with sinus.